Hello, welcome back to my channel, Mel's Stamping Gallery. I'm Melanie, your close to my heart maker. And for today's video is the first in a series of videos that my friend Erin Jacobson, whom you may already know from Crafty Concepts with Erin, and I are going to be bringing to you each month. We have decided to work through the Make It From Your Heart Volume 6 sketchbook from the current Essentials catalog from Close to My Heart. And you can find that on page 8 and 9 of the catalog. Each month we will be selecting the same sketch from the book and creating our own unique layout. Now, this should be lots of fun because other than the sketch, neither one of us know what products the other one is using. So depending on the month, they could end up looking totally different or totally the same if we decide to use the same products. But it should still be fun to see how each of us interpret the sketch. And if you want to follow along with us on this journey, we will each have a playlist created that you'll be able to find on each of our channels. And I will also have the playlist linked down below in the description boxes of each video. So make sure you check those out when you are visiting us. All right, so let me bring in the sketchbook and show you what that's all about. First of all, the sketchbooks come as a loose leaf. So you get a packet with all the pages like this, but then you can get the 6x8 album, three ring album, excuse me, and you can put your sketches in your Make It From My Heart volumes in one of the albums. And I have 2 of them in here, and that fits very nicely. So for the first one today, and if you look here, it gives the whole guide with thumbnails of each of the sketches. It has, let's see, 10 one-page 12 by 12 layouts, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I believe, 2-page layouts. But then it also has card layouts for your standard A2 card sizes and also the slimline card sizes. So for today's layout, we are using pattern number 1. We're going to start right at the beginning that you can find here on page 6. The great thing about these sketchbooks is they're like following a recipe. They give you the cutting guides. They even give you the measurements that you need to place each of those cut pieces on your cardstock, and they give you some nice examples with some little tips on it. So I think these are really great places to start. All right, so let's clear that out of the way and we'll go ahead and get started. Now for today's layout, I found this picture. This is my house that I grew up in. Actually, I moved there when I was in high school. And this is in Brecksville, Ohio. If you're from Ohio, you know where that is. But it actually has the date, April 1972. That's the year we moved in the house. And there's our station wagon there. I do remember that car. So I just thought it would be fun to document this picture to put in my memory book. And I'm also thinking of using these papers from the Good Life collection. And I've got a few papers from the Mixin Pack from the current seasonal catalog as well. So I wanted to see how those would work with these photos. Because that's an older photo and it's black and white, I thought the vibe of these these papers would go nicely with this. All right, let me slide those papers out of the way, and I'm going to bring in a piece of very vanilla, or excuse me, French vanilla cardstock. And let's bring in the Versamat to put our base down. So I've got my French vanilla cardstock, and I've got a piece, this is actually from the Mixin paper pack, and it's a mist. It's kind of a tone on tone. It's kind of hard to pick that up on the camera. But that's kind of our base piece. And that one measures 10 by 10. And that's going to go in the center. And according to the sketch, then there's one 4x4 photo here. And I've got that mounted just on black cardstock. And according to the sketch, there is an embellishment cluster down here, and I found this house, which I actually thought was probably going to be perfect to use And I'll show you where that is in the catalog, and the little fence, which actually was also an SVG from the catalog. And this little tree, which I just love, and that was on the cover of the current seasonal catalog. And you can see that right here. Now that is from an old, close to my heart, Cricut file that if you have an access pass, you can still find that in Design Space. And then the house actually came from the digital art collection. You can get the whole bundle, or you can get each one individually, and they're just $1. So I just used the little house from there, and I cut it. I didn't use the word home. I just want to use the word house, or the the house. And I cut that in just black and white cardstock. All right, I'm back. You might notice I've made a couple of changes. Instead of the plain vanilla cardstock, I've decided to go with this pattern, this beautiful floral print, this vintage floral print. And instead of the Good Life paper pack, I wasn't liking it. I mean, I like the paper pack, but it was just really too dark. I found this in my stash, and this is the Mixin Pack from April, June of this year. And as of right now, this paper pack is still available online, so I will definitely link that below. But it had all these beautiful vintage looking papers, and the colors are just gorgeous. The featured colors are charcoal, mint, papaya, pine, seabrook, toffee, and white daisy. So I thought I would use these 4 sheets with my picture. All right, so the hardest part was deciding what squares to cut and where to put them. Now, according to the diagram, these are all 3 by 3, and I have, let's see, 3 of one pattern and 2 of all the others. So I think they're going to go, I think, like this, according to my diagram. I didn't want too many of the same patterns together, and I think these 2 go like this, and then these 2 green ones down there. I think that's how that's going to go. And then when you put the picture here, that kind of brightens that up. And then let's bring in the house again, and that's going to go about like that. And I changed the foliage on the tree to match the paper pack. So that's going to go there. And then the fence, let's not forget the little picket fence. You can actually see it right there in the picture. And that's one of the things that I do remember about that house. It had such a cute little picket fence with, I think it was a hibiscus bush behind it. And that was one of my dad's favorites. All right, so then I made the title, Home Sweet Home. I just did that on my Cricut with an offset and cut that out. And then this mailbox, is that not perfect? And I stamped it with some small number stamps that I had in my stash. And I just cut it on my Cricut. And that actually comes from the Good Life digital art collection. And it's this little mailbox down here that is actually part of the whole scrapbook layout there. So when you import these into your Cricut Design Space, you can ungroup them and use each one of those individually. And if you saw my video last week, you saw how I did a print and cut on that windmill and use that on my layout. Okay, so all the squares are in place, and that was probably the trickiest thing of this whole process. But my T-square ruler did, of course, come in very handy for that, to help me line up all those grids. All right, so now we're going to put the photo right here. And then the tree is going to go kind of in that corner, and I didn't want to cover that up, the date that was on the picture. I think with the tree, I'm going to use a little bit of the liquid adhesive here and on the trunk. And then I can slide that into place, like so. Let's bring that down a little bit more. And I did have the house popped up on some 3D foam tape, so we're going to put that there. And then the fence, going to put that down using some liquid adhesive as well. And like I said, what I like about the liquid adhesive, oops, that could have been a disaster, is that it doesn't dry right away, so it gives you some wiggle room. And anything that might come leaking out, if you get too much on there, it'll wipe off. All right, so the fence goes there. And did I tell you the fence was from the Good Life collection as well? I don't remember if I told you that or not, but it was. All right, so let's put the house down with some of that 3D thin foam tape. And we're going to put that right there, coming off that corner. And then let's put the title up here, again with some liquid adhesive. Where did I put the title? Oh, there it is. I don't know. Do you ever do that? Put something down, walk away for 2 seconds and can't find it, even though you haven't even probably moved at all? Yeah, I do that all the time. Scissors are the worst, right? You put your scissors down, turn around, do something else, come back, and for some reason your scissors are missing. They really are missing. You just threw some paper over top of it or something. I do that all the time. Okay, so let's put the Home Sweet Home kind of centered in that gray box there. And adhere that down. And then the only thing left is the mailbox. Well, it's not the only thing left. We do need to put some journaling. And I don't think I'm going to pop that up. Let's put that on some liquid adhesive as well. Make sure we get that good and covered. I didn't put it on what do you call it, foam tape, because it's already pretty thick. I guess the house is too, but I kind of wanted that to stand out a little bit. So let's get this kind of like that. Press that down. All right, so that's all that. Pretty much most of it is done. All right, my friend Laura Daniels would tell me I need my journaling, and I am, Laura. I'm going to put it right there. And then there's just one more tiny little thing I want to do. The SVG of the house had a little heart. So I'm just taking a punch from my stash and cutting out a heart out of the papaya that matches that mailbox. And I'm going to put that right there. I've got all my embellishments in place. I've got the journaling typed out. I haven't put that down yet because I thought maybe you'd want to see how I did that. So to do the strip journaling, I just open up notes in my on my iPad. I select to make a text box and drag it to the size that I want it. Okay, and then you just type the text that you want, and then when I print it out, I can just cut it down into strips. And if I put it at 1.5 line spacing, it gives me plenty of room to cut the strips apart to make the journaling. And then once I lay the journaling out where I want it, I can just pick it up with my tweezers, and I use the mono adhesive, liquid adhesive, so that I can scoot it around before putting it down. If I use the tape runner, then you know that dries right away or sticks right away. It's much harder to get off. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that up, and I'll come back to show you all the close-ups. Okay, so let's take a look at that. The journaling says, our home on Echo Hills Drive in Brecksville, Ohio. We moved here in 1972 at the end of my freshman year, and my parents lived here until about 1994 when they moved to Florida. And you can see I put the address up here in the mailbox, and I added just a couple of stickers from another sticker sheet that I had, and got my journaling. So yeah, that's about it. The title was made on Cricut. The mailbox came from one of our SVG files as well, and so did the house. So there you have it, and don't forget, it all started with a sketch from that Make It From Your Heart volume 6 sketchbook that you can find in the Current Essentials catalog. If you like this layout, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out and helps you out too, because YouTube then knows that you like these kind of videos and it will continue to show them in your feed. Also, be sure to check out the description box down below for the link to Erin's channel to see what she did with her sketch. We'll have all those links to my Facebook and Instagram pages where you can find still shots of the layout down there, and all the links to the products on my Close to My Heart webpage. So thanks so much for joining me, folks. Until next time, bye bye.